Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host. So, lot of stuff to report. I got a load in Kentucky. We're physically in Kentucky. I've picked up my new trainee. He's getting settled in, and just starting a new training cycle. Merry Christmas to everybody. And by the way, if you don't listen to Christmas songs, Christmas carols, or whatever you want to call them, then I don't know what to say. But you gotta listen to Christmas music. It just makes the season brighter. So, anyway, got this load yesterday. It was kind of a hassle getting it, but I got it. But big weekend, big doings in college football. And you know what I always say? The game from yesterday is now in the history books. So this is a little history for today. So all of you people, hold on a second. All right. All of you people that made comments about the Iowa Hawkeyes this year, the Hawk was watching you. So I will say this. I mentioned to a friend that Iowa might be the worst 10-2 team in America, but nevertheless, let me fix that. They are 10-2, and they are your Big Ten West champions. So I'll drink to that. Going to be playing Michigan next weekend in Indianapolis. That one's empty. Not to worry. Got it back up. So that was kind of interesting. Wisconsin got taken care of by Minnesota and couldn't hold the lead. And so a lot of big games. The game, Michigan pretty much worked Ohio State, so that was interesting to see. I didn't really have a dog in that fight, but I do think there's a lot of parity in college football. If you look at Oklahoma State took care of Oklahoma. In fact, they beat Oklahoma so bad that Oklahoma's coach is moving to California, which I'm not sure I get, but whatever. Just a big weekend in college sports. This week is what we refer to at the Naval Academy as Army Week. And of course, the hijinks have started. Army already kidnapped the wrong mascot. I mean, come on, guys. At least, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, you guys got to get better intel. But a lot of hijinks will be going on. That's always actually kind of a blast. Kind of scary, but kind of a blast. So Army-Navy game will be this weekend. Forget about the records. It's two teams just going at it. So that'll be fun to watch. So real quick, I wanted to talk about, I've been reading a lot about the trucker shortage and the shortage of workers, etc. And I've been hearing all sorts of stupid theories about why there's a shortage of truck drivers and that truck drivers get treated bad. And, but I'm not sure that anybody really understands it, especially even the companies that can't seem to stop turnover. But maybe the answer is that it's always been that way in this industry. I mean, nobody ever talks about the turnover in the fast food industry, but I'm guessing it's as bad as it is in trucking. When you're just hiring teenagers all the time and that's your business model. But one of the things that I think that the American public doesn't really understand is that there's so many different types of trucking. And what they think is impacting the supply chain might not be. But the other thing that seems to be going on is this notion that, there's just a labor shortage. And I kind of reject that, in that you can't call it a labor shortage. Makes it sound like we just don't have enough workers. And the truth of the matter is, there's not a labor shortage. There's just a shortage of people that are willing to take peanuts for doing work that they had heretofore done, or other people had heretofore done. The truth of the matter is that people just are valuing their time and their energy in a different way. And, whether it's the trucking industry or the fast food industry, you got to keep up with the times. And here, there was an interesting story on, actually, I saw the story, and then one of my daughters sent it to me, and they were like, oh, this is such a great thing. And it's a story that was on CNN.com about this 81-year-old woman in Findlay, Ohio, that really, really loves Culvers. And as you probably know, I really like Culvers. And I took Gabe, my first trainee, to Culver's one day and kind of turned him on to the Culver's food. And but anyway, there's this Culver's in Findlay, and the franchise is owned by this woman named Danielle Doxey, and she basically closed the dining room at her Culver's franchise because, quote, there was a worker shortage. And so this 81-year-old woman who likes eating in the dining room at Culver's showed up and said, hey, I want to help you stay open. I like this place, blah, 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 right? And, everybody was like, oh, it's such a feel-good story. She's helping this local restaurant. But the truth of the matter is that Culver's, and in particular Danielle Doxey, should be ashamed of the fact that an 81-year-old woman is helping them out. And here's why they should be ashamed. In order to qualify to get a Culver's franchise, Danielle Doxey or she and her family, or she and whatever entity she has, had to pony up $55,000 in cash for a franchise fee to Culver's. And then they also had to have, and this is per Culver's website, at least $500,000 of liquid assets. So liquid assets would mean negotiable securities, cash, or some other item that's quickly can quickly be made into cash. That would not include real estate. So if they own some big farm outside of Findlay, that wouldn't count, right? It's got to be liquid. And so what I know about Ms. Doxey is this. Somewhere along the line, she had a pile of money that she had access to. And she's like, oh, we have staffing shortages. No, lady, you don't pay people enough. And you ought to be humiliated that people think that it's cute that this 81-year-old woman is working in your restaurant so you could have the dining room open because she was a customer and you couldn't meet her needs. You couldn't meet her needs because you're a freaking cheapskate, okay? Because I've been to Findlay, Ohio. It's a nice town, right? I think that's where they make the sugar from sugar beets. I think that's Findlay. It's like Flag City, USA, etc., right? But the fact that you can't get enough teenagers and 20-some-year-olds that haven't gone to college and just hanging around Findlay to work to keep the dining room open tells me that you're just a cheapskate. You had a lot of money before you started this franchise, before you started it, and you won't pay people enough to staff that restaurant. That's pathetic. It's not a labor shortage. It's an overage of people that still want to cash in on the backs of, low skill employees. And so whether it's a trucking company where the owners are still, they're paying drivers, 48 cents a mile over the road, when the going rate for somebody in that same position might be 60 cents. And by the way, I'm not talking about company drivers at Prime, because I think 48 is one of the metrics. I'm talking about companies like, US Express or whatever, where the wages have always been low. And, don't get me started on Variant, because Variant's just a smack in the face to anybody that's working at US Express. It's like, oh, we started this more elite unit and you're not qualified for it. But it's not a labor shortage. There are people that will work if you pay them enough. But there are also people that are not willing to accept an irregular schedule, crap hours, little benefit, and then still work for like $12 an hour in Findlay, Ohio, or whatever they're paying. That's not something to be proud of. And Culver should be ashamed of it. They should be embarrassed by the fact that their franchise owners can't keep the stores manned, can't keep customers coming in, right? They collect all this money and, they won't pay anybody. So I get that operating a restaurant is a tough business, but, raise prices on the cheese curds. I don't care. I'll pay $1 more for a pack of cheese curds. Somebody will probably pay $1 more for a butter burger, or a fish sandwich, or a roast beef platter, or whatever it is, or a concrete. Raise your prices if you need to. Americans, if your stuff is good, people will pay for it. And they'll pay for it, especially when they know that workers are making more. But stop lining your own pockets and acting like, this is some kind of family restaurant. It's a huge chain. The franchise owners are all mercenaries, and they just need to pay people. There's not a labor shortage. Anyway, that's my post-Thanksgiving message. So we will catch you soon. I think we're going to end up maybe going out to Springfield because my APU heater is not working. So we might get in a place where it comes in handy. Haven't so far, but see what happens. Anyway, take care. We'll catch you next time on Tim Travels. Bye.